Hello, everybody. We're going live here on Instagram too. Okay. All right. Okay, let's get this. Okay. Welcome, everybody. We are live straight here from Quito, Ecuador. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, so I'm in Quito, Ecuador. I have to do some stupid paperwork stuff. Wasn't my idea to stay in the middle of the city. It sucks. What's up, Rod? And let me tell you, this smile here, if I could smile right now, then anybody could smile anytime. You hear me? What's up? Mwah. So welcome, everybody. Crystal, let me know when I'm up on news.theworld.rawfoodworld.com. Jay, okay, you can ask your questions here. As many of you know, the June retreat is almost sold out. I think we got like 2 more rooms left. But usually there's cancellations at the last second, so there's still some slots for the June retreat. So I'm in Quito, Ecuador right now. Okay, we're good to go. I'm in Quito, Ecuador right now, doing paperwork. Got an Airbnb like right in the middle of the city. My girls are right downstairs. And the pollution here is some of the worst pollution in the world. What's up, Robin? Because there's no diesel gas laws here. It's ridiculous. And I'm in the middle of the city. The energetics here is just absolutely insane. But anyway, I've got my inner peace, which is good. Just going a little bit nuts over here. Okay, so I see you, Marwa. You said hi like 10 times. So ask your questions. What we're going to be talking about today is overcoming failure. Overcoming failure. Overcoming failure. Let me see how we're doing on this page real quick and see any questions real quick. Okay. Bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. Okay. Okay, so overcoming failure is what we're discussing tonight. Here we go. Many of us get inspired. We get really excited to improve our dietary lifestyle. We're ready to do this, and we actually jump on board. What's up, Jesse from St. Louis, Missouri? But what happens a lot of the time is, after about 2 weeks of getting because we've been talking a lot lately. We've been talking about willpower. We've been talking about the conscious placebo effect. We've been talking about all these different means in order to get the strength, emotional and spiritual strength, and willpower to go full force at this. I mean, it's pretty easy, like logically speaking, most people can't improve their dietary lifestyle permanently because of the emotional pain and suffering that comes with it. It gets so intense, they're not even willing to try it for a day a lot of the time. So if a person can simply control themselves and choose what they put in their mouth, if you can actually get through that pain and suffering when you want to just eat healthily, most people can't do that. If you could simply do that, control what you put in your mouth, if you're wanting to eat a healthier lifestyle, then when you go out with your friends, everyone your age, You're gonna be more beautiful, you're gonna look younger, you're gonna be at your ideal weight, you're gonna have more life force, more focus, more energy, you're gonna have more, everyone's gonna be looking at you in the room. And all we have to do, out of everything, the number one thing that we can do for our beauty and our health, compared to any other supplement, compared to any exercise regimen, is eat healthily. This is like the biggest beauty secret, the biggest health secret in the world. Just by doing that, you're way ahead of the game. You're way ahead of the game. It's just like many people can't exercise because they don't want to go through the pain and suffering in order to do that. But the person who goes through the pain and suffering, they're able to do all sorts of things. Like yogis can do all sorts of crazy stretches. They've got like no pain in their bodies. Runners can like keep up with anybody when you're on a walk, or if you're doing something, there's no becoming out of breath. They put the effort in. So it's the same thing with the diet. We got to hit that. So someone's asking, how do I do this when I'm out and about and traveling? I've traveled all around the world and I've never had an issue anywhere. I'm sitting here in Quito, Ecuador. There happened to be some fruit van downstairs and I brought all these strawberries. I brought up 1 jar of almond butter with me and some hemp seeds. And there's avocados everywhere in the world I've ever been. So probably after this, I'm going to eat an avocado. I'm not going to go gourmet or anything like that. I'm just going to have an avocado, take some hemp seeds. I brought a little bit of chia oil, mix that in there, and I like to put a little bit of salt on that. That just like tastes really good. And then an avocado. But so people are also wanting to hear about the CBD fiasco. We're about to go into overcoming failure shortly, but I'm kind of just like vibing with everybody here and answering questions and going into all these things. So what we want to talk about is overcoming failure. Logically, we'll talk about CBD oil in a little bit. Logically, we understand that if we can simply control what we put in our mouth, then we're way ahead of the curve. Most people aren't willing to do that. You're going to be more beautiful, all sorts of different things. But we get inspired, we do this for 2 weeks, and then after the 2 weeks hits, something like flips in us. All that inspiration, that drive, that willpower just goes out the door. Because the cravings, the withdrawals, the emotional issues hit you so hard, it's absolutely insane. All of a sudden, the desire and cravings for pizza come into your being. Now you don't care about anything else now. You don't care about this inspiration you had 2 weeks ago. You don't care about the willpower you had. All you can think about is this pizza, like a heroin addict thinks about their heroin. Like the coffee addict who quits coffee thinks about their coffee. All you can think about is this pizza. Now, you don't want to eat this pizza. You want to eat healthy, but you're like salivating and you're smelling the pizza and there's no pizza around. So you're like, oh, dude, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. You want to eat healthily, but all of a sudden the doorbell rings, you open it, and the Domino's Pizza Man's there. Now you're really smelling the pizza. So what you do at this moment in time is you try to keep calm, be as polite as you possibly can be to this pizza man, because what you really want to do is just grab this, throw him out the door, and shove the door, slam the door as hard as you can so you can take your pizza and eat it like crazy. That's what I know what's going on. So we lose control. We lose control and we eat that pizza. So what we're trying to do today is talk about how to gain control in these moments when you've lost control. So what happens when you eat that pizza? By the way, I'm in an Airbnb in Quito in the midst of a polluted city without diesel gas laws. It's crazy. So what do? What happens when you eat that pizza? Generally, it makes a person feel really good if they've improved their diet for 2 weeks. And why is that? It's like if you were to look at the coffee drinker and they eliminate coffee from their intake, they go through withdrawals. It's almost like a heroin addict. They get this coffee shakes, they get the coffee headache, they have the coffee breath, and all of a sudden they give up after 2 weeks. They take this coffee and they're about to drink it. What happens when they drink the coffee? What it does is it stops the withdrawal process, and that right there feels really, really good, like you can't believe. Like all of a sudden, the toxins from the coffee that was pouring into your system ceases. And you're just like, oh, thank you. And on top of that, the coffee stimulates them like crazy at the same time. So they're like flying high and they're wondering why they stopped coffee in the first place. And if you think those effects are potent with the coffee drinker, it's even more extreme with someone who's eliminated refined sugars and processed starches from their body. So when you eat that pizza, not only is it going to stop the withdrawal process and make you feel extremely good, but it's also going to stimulate you, especially if you haven't done it for 2 weeks. So generally we decide, like, why would I want to do raw foods? But what happens is we go into gluttony again, and then we have health issues, we have the low energy if we continue to do that. So here we are. We've lost control, complete control. We want to improve our diets, we want to eat healthily, but all of a sudden we're like this coffee addict or whatever type of addict we are, and all we can think about is eating that food. How do we gain control in this moment in time? Because this is the point of failure. The first step that we have to look at is when we fail, because this episode is called Overcoming Failure, we don't want to look at this as a failure. It's actually a success. It's actually a really good success. Most human beings will continue to eat their Doritos, they take the doctor's orders, they're eating McDonald's on the couch, watching the news. They never even attempt to improve their diet. They won't even look at it. They won't even look at the option. The doctor says this is okay, so this is what they do. So for you to be able to get to the point where you can't control yourself is actually a huge feat. You've eliminated all processed foods from your intake for 2 weeks, and then at that 2-week mark, you can't control yourself to where you eat the food. But what happens is when you eat, you consider that a failure instead of a success, and then you go into guilt. And then you loop guilt around and around and around. Now, if you were to pay attention when you are going through guilt at this moment in time, if you could just feel everything, you will notice a very deep-rooted suffering that's going on when you are in this guilt loop mode. This suffering, your energy is pretty much being drained, and then it's going to get that energy drainage. You're not going to have energy to start back up on it again. You're less likely to continue with improving your dietary lifestyle at this point in time. The guilt is like, stay away from that. Instead of going guilty, you got to be like, oh my goodness, this is like a huge success. Let's like get right back on this and do it again. That's the first step. Because if you go into guilt, you're not going anywhere because you're losing your strength there. So, what do we have to do at this moment in time? If we look at this as a success, we have to try again. It's actually good that you brought us to this point where you can't control yourself. This is the point that we want to get to over and over again, as much as possible, to this point where you can't control yourself. You just have to start right back over and eat healthily until you can't control yourself. Because maybe you have to go through it over and over again to understand what is going on here when you can't control yourself, to where you can actually figure it out and succeed. Have you ever seen The Matrix Part 3, I think it is, where he goes into that room and there's all these TV screens behind him and he's been there like 10,000 times, and each time he got there, it was a little bit of a tweak of a different scenario of how he reacted. This last time that he got there, he was just like, no anger, no ready to kick the guy's butt, but the TV screens behind him was ready to kill the guy. It was like an evolution of spiritual growth, doing things over and over again. So if you can get to this point over and over again to where you can't control yourself, the first step is not to go into guilt, then this is where success can happen. And this is what we want to be doing, is when we get to this point of not being able to control ourselves, we need to focus and pay attention to what is happening in these moments right when you're about to eat the food you don't want to eat. This is the most important time to focus. Some people call it meditate. You just have to pay attention, focus, look at it, look and feel at everything that's happening right at this moment when you're about to eat this pizza or whatever you're about to eat, the Doritos or whatever it is. So here you are about to eat. Look at everything you're feeling. Maybe you have emotional issues. Maybe you are feeling weak. Maybe you are in despair. Maybe these feelings are going throughout your being, and these feelings are making you suffer so much to where it's actually making you eat. It's almost like you lose control based off of feelings. So what we want to do is, when we're losing control, is pay attention and get to know every little aspect of what's going on there. If we were to focus right now, we can feel our entire reality. We've got our 5 senses. We can actually see what's in front of us. We could hear, we could smell, we could taste. But then there's like the 6th sense, which includes everything that's not the 5 senses, such as our emotional issues, vibrations, feelings. Anything that's not part of the 5 senses is the 6th sense. So if you focus, you can feel all 6 senses. So here you are, all of a sudden you feel this feeling of despair and weakness, and you're about to eat this. Get to know all that. Feel it all. Try to understand it. And then when you eat the pizza, don't go into guilt. Get right back on it the next day and start over. Go for another 2 weeks or maybe a week or whatever you have to do. Just try again to get to this point to where you can't control yourself anymore. And maybe the second time you're like, okay, and the feelings could be anything. I'm just using emotional weakness and despair as a common thing that many people feel in these moments, but it could be anything. So here you are experiencing despair and this emotional weakness. I need to go get a cucumber juice because I'm in Quito, air pollution. So here you are. This is one of my celeries. Experiencing, oh man, you weren't supposed to see my green pants. They don't match my shirt. Anyway, so here you are experiencing emotional pain, the despair, the weakness, and we want to like experience in a way like, okay, so there it is. There it is. And maybe the second time you have gotten a little bit more understanding. Wait a minute. That's not that bad. That I can actually endure through that. And then you eat the pizza. So now you remember that little bit and you're like, you're excited now. You have drive. Like, I'm excited to get to this point where I can't control myself so I could learn more about it right now. You get there, here's that same exact feeling you're feeling again, and now you're like ready to stand up to it. And now you're going an extra 18 hours without eating until where you just can't go anymore, and then you eat again. And you keep doing this over and over again. As long as you're attempting and not going into guilt, number one, you're just going to be happier in general not going into guilt and eating healthily. And having successes by eating foods that aren't so ideal. And when you could get to the point of where you can endure these sufferings and pains or whatever it is, sometimes it's even physical feelings that are painful, like the shrinking of your stomach. People aren't used to that. And it's like we've always associated that with hunger. So all of these things are happening at one time, and you can get to the point where if you can endure all of these things that aren't too bad as you think for the rest of your life, if you had to, then you have gained complete control. Now you have authority and control over what you put in your mouth. So the good news is it doesn't stay there forever, because when you do this and stop going into these things, you build up emotional and spiritual strength, and you become stronger and stronger and stronger till where it's completely gone. And it's kind of like a video game. I've talked about this in previous Hangouts. When I was younger, I used to play Super Mario Brothers. And, you know, the very first level, you get to the dragon, and the dragon shoots a fireball, and then right after he shoots another fireball, and I didn't time it right, and I jump over the first fireball, but hit the second fireball. And I was like, dang! Yeah, I get a little upset. I'm not going to go into guilt or anything, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to start back at the very beginning of the board and go all the way back to the dragon and beat this guy. So then this time, I remembered, because I paid attention, I focused to the patterns and everything that's going on. He shoots 2 fireballs, boing, I jump over the first one, boing, I jump over the second one, and then right after that, he shoots 3 more. The first 2, boom, I jump over the first one, jump over the second one, but the third one was actually going faster than the first 2, and it messed me up and I died. So I don't go into guilt, and I do it again, I paid attention, and then I kept going until I beat the dragon. And it's the same thing with this whole diet thing. It's like every failure is a success. You should be happy that you got to the point where you can't control yourself, because most people aren't ever going to get there. They don't even try to do that. It's almost like a video game. Okay, so here we are. I cannot control myself right now. I can't control myself right now. You're sitting on the couch. I can't control myself. I am about to, all this crap food here, I'm going to figure this out. You have this pizza in your hand. I am succeeding. And you're sitting there like, I don't want to eat this. But now all of a sudden you feel these things coming through you, like despair, weakness, whatever it is. All it is literally feelings and vibrations on some level, if we want to look at it from like the most logical space there is. And if you could literally just endure vibrations and feelings and stuff like this and have control over what you put in your mouth, instead of that, it's like, okay. So you see what I'm saying here? And don't get me wrong, I've been on the floor in despair, in weakness. You know, I've been there. I know it's easier said than done, but let's just we're looking at this from a logical standpoint. That's why it might take time. You might hit this place over and over again. But we got to grab that willpower. The willpower helps us get through that. I mean, it's pretty easy and logical. Woe is me is a feeling. Maybe you don't even want to improve your diet because you want people to feel guilty for you. I don't know. There's many possibilities and scenarios. But that's what this process is going to help us try to overcome. And the main point of paying attention and focusing is when we're at the point about to eat the food and we have complete loss of control. Because if you can experience and feel all those things that are going through you at this moment in time, if you can endure that, this is spiritual growth here. Not only health, physical healing, like, what do you want here? What do we want? I mean, there have been techniques that I've done. I mean, there have been times where I would literally be not wanting to partake in anything. It could be like raw chocolate or eating too much fruit, because when I was in my early years, I ate too much fruit. And sometimes I would just sit and watch a movie to just get through it and then just go to sleep, so then I could wake up to a new day. Like, just pass the time on some level. That was something that I remember happening in my past. So overcoming failure is one of the things, the steps is looking at it as a success, not necessarily a failure. because it is a success. You should be excited to get to this point where you can't control yourself, because this is the fun. This is where the spiritual intensity is the highest. The vibrational energy, everything is like so intense. And this is exciting. Can I do this? You fail, succeed. Let's try again. I'm excited to get there again so I can experience this and get over this. And then you kind of get a little bit more understanding on the third time or something. And then the next time you're like really excited. You remember some of those feelings. You're ready for it. You're like, come on, let's do this. And then you get there, boom. And then you're like, I could live like this forever. I don't care. I could live with these feelings and things in my reality forever if I need to. And once you're able to do that, you have gained complete control over what you put in your mouth. Guilt is no good. That's like, you know what guilt is like? Let's say you're playing Super Mario Brothers and you get to level 10 and you were about to beat the dragon on level 10 and you almost did it, but you died. You go into guilt. You're not going to start back at level 10 because you've lost all your life, or you're going all the way back to level 1. That's what guilt does to you. So let's just say you fail, succeed, you eat it, and you're going through guilt. This is where you need to focus and fight and not go into guilt. That's another learning process. So everything is like, this is a big learning scenario here. Overcoming failure. And you don't need to go 100% raw. That's just insane. You want some issues? Go 100% raw. You know how many years it took me? I've been 20 years 100% raw. You know how many years it took me to balance out? Yes, there's lots of raw gurus out there who talk about, oh, it's so easy, and but behind the closet, they're probably like stuffing fruit down their face when they're going through this emotional nonsense. It's mayhem. Mayhem. 20 years raw. Probably took me 15 years. 18? I don't know. To be like, maybe I'm still a little whacked out. But no, I have complete control of what I put in my mouth. But there's also fighting amongst other things. Like the other night, I had raw chocolate. I've been eating so pure lately, it's crazy. Because I'm testing a product for our website. I remember trying it recently. And, you know, so I've been doing very little sugar. Especially there's coconut sugar in here, so it's more concentrated. And I'm just like, I had to fight to keep my, you know, the thoughts and all these things about how this is going to, like, impact me, and I had to keep it under control. I think I did a pretty good job compared to me in the past. But anyway, okay. Let's now answer questions. We're going to start on Instagram here. Okay. Let's see here. I just have to scroll to the top. Okay. Pain makes us be small and go in. How do we go in without feeling small and guilty? Pain makes us... Okay. I'm trying to use light source of energy, not pain and suffering. Okay, let me scroll up. I didn't make it all the way to the top yet. Lots of questions here. Okay. It's sugar and chocolate for me, and yes, so much guilt because I know better. Okay, usually a person feels guilty because they murdered somebody, they stole something from somebody, they did some evil act, maybe a woman is looking at another guy and they're married, maybe, or I don't want to say evil, but I'm just saying okay, these are things you might want to feel guilty for. You killed somebody, or you robbed somebody, or you're flirting with people and you have a significant other. Okay, maybe you feel guilty. Yeah, I get that, right? But here you are eating healthily, which most people aren't able to attempt to do, and then you eat something because you know better that you shouldn't. Who is the determiner of know better? There's nothing wrong. We're allowed to eat whatever we want. We did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong. Why are we feeling guilty? It's silly. You should be happy that you haven't killed somebody. Or done some act that's going to make you really feel guilty. But sugar and chocolate, I mean, you're just playing games with yourself here. You probably really enjoyed the sugar and chocolate. I know I would have. Where's the guilt come from? You're going to be overweight, I don't know. But anyway, so if you can't control the guilt aspect, the first step is to figure that out. That could be very difficult. But it's pretty much just knowing, okay, I ate chocolate and sugar. I don't want to be guilty, but all of a sudden you're feeling guilt. You have to kind of go against it in order to overcome it. Or you just you surrender into the guilt and just allow it to do what it does to you. Go into the pain and suffering. And that's where we mess up. Mine is a chips and chocolate. Every day, I'm today is the day I'm going to eat it, but then I do. Are you saying just keep trying, don't give up? No, I'm saying, yes, this is good. Every day is the day you want to do this, but what we really want to do is when you're about to eat this pizza, you have to figure out why you're doing it. Why? Question yourself. You're saying you do it every day you're attempting. I'm talking about usually a person attempts for 2 weeks and then all of a sudden they can't control themselves and then they do it. But here's a good example, just every single day. You're kind of just playing a game with yourself. Okay, today's the day. And then you eat the chips. Then the next thing comes. Okay, today's the day. It's just like a loop. It's like an ongoing loop. You're not going anywhere here. So what we have to do is look at what's happening. First, look at the point where you're saying, today's the day. Are you even being serious with yourself at this moment in time? Do you have doubt when you're saying this? Are you feeling guilty because you're trying to make this commitment to yourself and you know for a fact that even though you're saying this, that you're not going to do it? So we want to be paying attention at what's happening right at this moment when you're first off making the commitment. So you might want to start there, because what you really want to be doing is okay, today's the day. I am seriously doing this. There's no doubt. I'm ready to go. And then you're fighting any other doubt and all these other things that's going on, right? So you're ready to do this. But then what happens is later when it's that time of the day, when it's time to eat the chips and chocolate, all of a sudden, whatever it is of you, maybe it's despair, maybe it's weakness, this is where we lose control. So what we want to be doing is, instead of going into the despair and emotional weakness and just being a byproduct of surrendering to it, what we want to be doing is focusing and paying attention to all of the feelings that you're experiencing. Normally, you don't pay attention to it, you just become it. No, we're going to focus, pay attention. You're eating the chocolate. Okay, you're about to eat it. What is it you're feeling? What is this pain and suffering? The pain and suffering that is happening at this moment in time, This is what's getting you to eat the chips and chocolate. So what we have to do is pay attention right at this moment in time and try to understand, feel it, and be like, how is this a simple feeling that is running through my system right now getting me to eat this? How does this have power over me? What's going on here? So what we want to be doing is understanding and looking at all these feelings and vibrations, emotions that are happening right now, and understand it. Can you endure that? Because the fact that you can't endure it is I'm trying to be gentle here. Not being able to endure it is like, it's kind of like, that's kind of like submission, weakness on some sort of level, which we all have. We all have our weaknesses. But when we want to be feeling like that pain and suffering that we're experiencing right at that moment, we want to try to be able to understand it more to where we don't have to eat, and because when we eat, it might like take that away. But then we feel like crap. It's almost like a loss of something, and we lose spiritual strength. So what we want to be doing is standing in the midst of that. That's how you build up strength. And right there at this point where you're about to eat the food, you want to try to understand everything and say, hey, can I endure this for a longer, can I endure this for the rest of my life if I needed to, even though that's not going to be the case? If you can endure those feelings and emotions and all these different things that are happening in this moment for the rest of your life, you have gained control and your strength starts to build. And then what happens as it builds, all of that kind of just like disappears in the long run. Then all of a sudden it might show up for a second, but then you understand it so much it doesn't even, okay. So don't give up. I'm not just saying don't give up. And I am not just saying just keep trying. I'm saying at this point where you're losing it, try to understand it to where you can endure. That's the key right there. If you had to for the rest of your life. And then you will have control over what you put in your mouth. Okay, so this person says, yep, every day I think I will be able to control myself this time. Nighttime is the hardest for me. That's why I said, watch the movie in the midst of this pain and suffering, and then just go to bed. And another technique you could do, instead of eating crap, you can like binge. Gotta hang. You could binge, instead of that, you like binge on something that's healthy, is a technique, if you really wanted to. So, let's keep going. Let's keep answering the questions here. I'm trying to use light for source energy, not pain and suffering. Okay, so I'm not trying to say get your source of energy from anywhere. Okay, it's kind of like this. If you're sitting here and someone punches you in the face, are you going to say, oh, I'm trying to use light instead of pain and suffering? It's like kind of unavoidable. We all have emotional pains and sufferings, and this is part of our path here in growing and stuff like this. So just a point to say to that. Okay. Just answered that? Okay. Okay. I'm just going through all the questions. Okay. Okay, so it says that we should be thankful we got to the point because we cared. Yeah, you could be thankful. I never said anything about being thankful. I'm just saying, like, be excited. Like, we're on a warrior as a mission here. It's almost like what you, remember, like with food, we're talking about it's what you don't eat that is health, that is what's important for health. You can eat all the raw foods, superfoods, supplements you want in the world, but if you're going to McDonald's 2 times a day, your health is going to suffer. You're not really making it too far. You'd be better off eliminating the McDonald's completely and eating no raw foods, no superfoods, and no supplements, because it's more important what you don't eat than what you actually eat. So in terms of this whole guilt thing, it's more important not to guilt than to take life force energy from positive things. So it's more about what we don't do. It's always people are around us buying unhealthy food and eating it in our face, knowing we're trying to get healthy. If you can simply do this by eat healthier, all those people around you that are eating whatever they want, everyone your age, you're gonna be more beautiful, you're gonna have more of a smile, you're gonna have more breath to breathe in, you're gonna have more lung space, there's gonna be less toxins in your body, you're gonna have more life force, you're gonna be more beautiful, you're gonna be more stared upon in the room in front of all your friends. Like, who cares what they're doing? You really wanna, like, care what other people are doing to you? You want to do this, you're going against the norm here. Everything is working against you. Everything. Your family, your friends, the cravings, the withdrawals, the spiritual issues, the emotional issues, everything's working against you. It's that simple. But the reward is like ridiculous. Like crazy ridiculous. I'm still struggling with judgment of others. That means people are judging you or you're judging other people. Because judging other people is another thing, like, we gotta watch out for. Or people trying to make you feel like you're a crazy hippie freak. I am like the ultimate crazy hippie freak. And I've been doing this for 20 years. Yes, yes, yes. Everything is working against you. We're gonna come to Facebook after Instagram. But you don't have to, you could keep it silent to lower the impact on that type of thing. The more we like share and like, the more you're gonna get like slammed down. Like even like this whole stuff that we're talking about, like, you gotta keep this to yourself. If you start telling your friends and family about this, they're gonna like look at you like you're crazy. It's gonna, you know what I mean? It's gonna work against you. So we also have to learn to keep everything inside, or we're going to have repercussions. The judgment is so hard, it's hard enough for me. Well, when you start doing this type of thing, all of a sudden you're going to be eating healthy, and then you're going to see people eating pizza and stuff like this, and then you got to control your judgment on other people. Maybe you're already judging other people who eat like McDonald's. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not doing anything evil. They're just eating what they choose to eat. They're not a bad person. So it works both ways. At our retreat, someone's asking, do we use crystals for healing? And if so, what? If I was at my house right now, I could show you this huge crystal that I was gifted from South Africa. Perfect point. It's like this big. It's like crazy. I don't use it for healing, but it's all inside. Everything's inside. Okay, here we go. Okay, so someone's saying, this is off the subject, I'm trying to keep it on the subject, but are most of your products grown on your own land or from some other sources? If so, from where are your products grown? We work with small family farms. I actually have a video coming soon. We're just waiting for the paperwork to be done. We just visited some cacao plantations, which is gonna blow your mind. I have a video. I went like deep into the forest in order to get to these cacao. I'm gonna keep it on the down low, but each of these sources is a very special source, I guess you could say. He binges on bananas. Okay. So failure could be a good thing that generates growth and change. It depends how you look at this. What I'm trying to do is just give a process, step-by-step process on how to do this. Okay. Someone says I'm amazing for doing this 20 years. They're trying to battle here to just do 1 day raw. You don't need to be, okay, so here's a person trying every day to go 100% raw. 100% raw is insane. You most likely don't want to do it. If you could do it, great. It took me many years to balance out. Eat a cooked whole foods diet at first, and then, like if you're attempting to be raw, and then you're eating Twinkies and McDonald's and Doritos when you can't succeed, you're better off binging on cooked whole foods. Just go one step at a time. Or if you mess up on the raw food, binge on cooked whole foods. Lala Vegan is another crazy hippie freak here in the house. My soul hurt and food stops me from killing myself. Okay. I can't address that. My recommendation is this is all based off of experience. This is, make sure you talk to a medical care professional before making any changes here. This process that I'm talking about, maybe take a look at it. But talk to a doctor, maybe a psychologist before making any crazy changes. Okay. Okay. That's awesome, Jasmine. She says I inspire. Okay, we hit Instagram. Now we're coming to Facebook. How do I pack fresh vegetables when traveling? Well, the girls and Angela are downstairs. They're on floor 7. I'm on floor 11. And I think she brought a blender and does it, but that's not, I actually brought these and keep from, if you're flying within Ecuador, you can bring liquid onto the plane. So I just put these in ice packs, and this is my second night here. I came here last night, so they're still good. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow, drink their juice or something like that. Anyway, brought a jar of almond butter, 1 pack of coconut wraps that Leandra already and me kind of went through already. Okay, so here we go. We're coming to Facebook here. Okay, there might not be that many on Facebook. And then we'll come to news.therawfoodworld.com if there's any there. Okay. Okay, so people want to know about the CBD oil fiasco. We'll come back to all the CBD oils because we're still hitting this. What is the shelf life of CBD oil? I ordered some, but I didn't have an expiration date. Just curious so I can stock up. Sorry about that. Depends which CBD oil you're getting. We just came out with a new non-hemp derived CBD oil, which the shelf life, I think it was 3 years. I have to go look at it, but I believe it's 3 years. I'm from California. Okay. Do CBDs have heal the body, wounds, or after surgery? Okay. This person bought 3 bottles of CBD oil and they're stockpiling. We never know what's going to... I'm kind of interested in what's happening. We just came out with this non-hemp derived CBD oil, kind of just like pull the rug underneath of them. And I don't know what they're going to do now. They might just simply, I don't know, but there's a chance that they might be just like, okay, let's let it go through. Maybe hemp, this might have changed if they allow hemp CBD around. Seriously. Maybe not though. I don't know. I'm kind of curious what the next move of the DEA, FDA is going to be after this little episode we had. My mom wrote chocolate ice cream. I don't know what she wrote that to when I was talking. Okay. Okay. So Jay writes, I should just stay away from this. I've had a rough time for years, but have eaten an 89% raw diet. 2 weeks ago, I watched Earthlings, which is factory farming, how they actually go in and show the suffering of animals. And it hit them really strong. I'll never go back to that life again. And thanks for all your inspiration. Love ordering from you and thankful of my new life. Look, you can eat animal products that don't harm animals if you do it right, such as pasture-raised eggs, goat's milk, and goat's cheese. These are healthy. And then fish, depends how you look at that. Some people think, they call them pescatarians, where they think fish are a little different than mammals, whatever. I don't know. But and I'm not saying, this movie goes into the deepest, darkest McDonald's, Taco Bell, In-N-Out Burger, animal meat processing. But if you were to go to farms, but I know, I'm not saying, I'm not, the moral aspect, I get that. I'm just saying, we have to, there's a lot of emotion there with the whole Earthling thing. But you could just go animal products that don't hurt animals. Okay. Okay. I'm going to have to watch the replay. This is, okay. Matt, how do you get beyond feeling stuck professionally? Thank you. I will watch a movie and then go to sleep and then wake up again. Like we talked about. Okay, let's keep going. No, I eat chips and chocolate because it tastes great. Look, I'm not judging. I'm just saying there's a lot of people here that are trying to improve their human body. I'm not saying you can't have a healthy human body by doing that. Just from my experience, when I'm eating really clean, I'm 100% raw. I am 100% raw for 20 years, but the difference from being before I went raw to being 100% raw, you just unload waste and you have more space in your lungs and you have more focus and more clarity, and people are trying to reach, it's like doing yoga. People do yoga and they try to focus and they learn how to handle certain things and pains, and they get more life on some. There's many different types of methods you can utilize. Hi, Glenda. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to get through all the questions here. What do you say about raw organic milk? Preferably goat's milk is on the cooked Wholefoods list. They've been calling me a crazy hippie since I was little. That's all right. I am the crazy hippie. Hey, Matt, any thoughts on the ketogenic diet? Or a West Coast granola girl is what they call her. I'm a big fan of low sugar, high fat. That's what I do on the raw food diet. Okay. I have free-range chickens and give the eggs to the seniors at senior center. That's awesome. Okay, so back here. Green juice powder is a good idea for travel. I don't make a green juice powder. We've thought about it many times. We might do it. But we do have green juice powders at therawfoodworld.com. We have something new coming very soon, which we're talking like 2 months. I have something else coming in a month. Okay, you could do either. I buy mine, but making it a fraction of the cost. Okay. Okay, let's take a look here. And then we got all the questions answered. All right, we pretty much hit everything. We're at the end of the hour. I'll talk about CBD oil for a little bit, I guess. Our retreat is almost filled up for June. We still have usually a couple cancellations happen. So we came out with the CBD oil. As many people know, we've been getting a lot of questions about CBD oil because of all this stuff that's been going on. The DEA on January 13th of 2017 classified all marijuana extracts as a Schedule I drug. Marijuana and all marijuana extracts as a Schedule I drug. So when they were questioned on what is an extract, would CBD oil with 0 THC be considered or with very trace amounts of THC, be considered a Schedule I drug? And they said yes, it would be. And so what happened was the hemp industry fought back, and they were told, they were saying no, they gave many reasons why this shouldn't be the case, and then just last week they lost the appeal. So it has been established that CBD is now considered a Schedule I drug. I mean, it's that simple. So then that week, the same week, my Instagram is paused. I'm trying to because of the poor connection, it should pop right back in. So last week, the same week that they declared this as a Schedule I drug, and I got banned from YouTube for having CBD videos up at the same time, we came out with a CBD product that is non-hemp derived, and the law states marijuana extracts. So this is 100% legal. They can't do anything about it. It seriously comes from tree bark and citrus peels. It just threw I threw a wrench in their wheels there. So I'm kind of curious at what's going to happen. Maybe they'll just drop the whole hemp-derived CBD thing. You're going to see a lot more of this product, not just from us. It's going to probably start becoming big now. There's clinical studies coming on it really soon, but it should be very interesting. I tried to advertise on Instagram this new CBD product, which they're owned by Facebook, and they denied the advertisement. And I tried to write back saying, hey, the law says that marijuana extracts is what is illegal. This is a tree bark extract. There's nothing illegal in it. And they pretty much wouldn't approve it. They wouldn't accept my appeal, which kind of sucks. But I'm going to see if I can fight that a little bit more. So a week from tomorrow or Thursday, we have this new CBD oil coming in from this place. It's very pure. It's very bioavailable, like you've never seen before. So I'm excited to share that with everybody. We have it on pre-order right now. So yeah, it's been a very interesting few weeks getting banned from YouTube for CBD oil videos. They announced that the pharmaceutical companies are possibly going to be approving a drug that contains CBD from hemp. The same week we get banned from YouTube. And then the same week they denied the appeal from the hemp industry. Is this all coincidence? But then is this coincidence? Like, we just came out with a CBD that doesn't come from hemp. Anyway, we'll see. All right, everybody, every Tuesday night, I'm in Quito. The pollution here is like, there's no diesel gas laws. So New York and LA is way cleaner than where I'm at right now. And I'm like right in the city. It's driving me nuts. So I'm here till Thursday evening. But next Tuesday, I'll be back in Vilcabamba. We'll be doing another hangout. And this is Matt Monarch. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.